Best Practices in Teaching English is a series of teacher training segments dealing with 8 topics: classroom management, writing, reading, listening, presentation skills, practice, error correction, and supervision. Best Practices in Teaching English can be used for teacher and supervisor in-service training or by faculty in pre-service teacher education. Also, tapes can be used separately by student teachers, and supervisors for individual study and self-development. Accompanying the video series is a set of printed supplementary materials that describes the content and includes information on how to use the videotapes. Supportive error correction.
Is there a difference between a mistake and an error? The mistake is made by the learners due to lack of attention, fatigue, or carelessness, whereas the error is made by students when they use in a wrong way a linguistic item such as a grammatical item, a word, or a speech act in a faulty or incomplete way. In this segment of the tape, however, we are using them to mean the same thing. One of the most frequently posed questions by teachers is when and how should we correct speech errors of students in the classroom? In order to provide a relevant and practical answer to this question, I'd like you teachers to take into consideration the following guiding principles. Number 1, too much correction shuts off students' attempts at communication. Don't increase the times of giving positive feedback in order to avoid fossilization. Use encouraging words such as good, well done, fantastic, star of the day, etc. Don't single students out for their mistakes. Deal with mistakes without saying who made them. During a speaking activity, it's more effective to stand back, to watch and listen. Don't interrupt the flow of speech. Give your feedback later. If the mistake is global, correct it. If it is local, ignore it. Point out and correct the errors that are only significant to the point of teaching or to the target language. Your correction should be the last resort. Notes that mistakes are symptoms of progress and success. After dealing with speech errors, we are going to introduce techniques for dealing with writing errors. In this respect, I suggest 4 guiding principles. First, when students correct their peers, they should use green markers or green pens. Second, the teacher uses red pens, but not excessively. Third, students should write on every other line. Fourth, we have to consider, or teachers have to consider, that writing is a thinking process as well as a productive activity. After carrying out the writing activity, the teacher explains her scheme of correction. And by scheme of correction, I mean she explains to her students some symbols. For example, SP to refer to spelling, LS to refer to long sentences, etc. Now, let us see how far Mrs. Fatima El-Zahra is applying these guiding principles and techniques with one of her preparatory classes in Ismailiyah.
everybody. Good morning, Mrs. Fadl. Sit down, please.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, can anybody read the title? Muhammad?
Travel at the supermarket.
Trouble at the supermarket. So, thank you. So, we are going to speak about an act of stealing. Thank you. What kind of trouble? What will be stolen from the supermarket? What do you think will be stolen? Yes, Luay?
Some money.
Some money, thank you. What else? Yes, Ahmad?
Some goods.
Some goods. Thank you very much. So, we expect something to be stolen from the supermarket. Now I have some new vocab, some new words here. Each group will take one. Whenever a new word is mentioned, what will you do? One of you will come and put it on the board. Yes. One. Have a look at it quickly, please, for just seconds. Yes, please. Yes, have a look at it and then turn it over. You can share together. Share with the other group and you share with the others. All right. How can thieves enter a supermarket? How can they enter a supermarket? Yes, Ali?
By breaking the window or
Yes, by breaking the window or the shop window. Thank you. So we have the word break in. Today we will speak about break in. Breaking in. Have you ever heard or read about any break-ins by thieves? Have you, Mahmoud? Yes. What happened?
Some thieves break into a bank and they stole a lot of money, and they ran away, but the police
Could?
them after a time.
But the police could? Yes, Ahmad?
This type of correction is called peer
Thank you
correction.
very much. Sit down.
In this technique, the teacher asks another student to give help and provide the correct answer without humiliating his colleague or the student who has made the mistake.
Very good. Thank you. Who can repeat this, please? Who can repeat? Yes, Ahmad, but speak up, please.
You should immediately tell the police about the stolen things.
Very good. He should immediately tell the police about the stolen things. Thank you very much. Now let's see our trouble at the supermarket today and what had happened. Okay. Is it clear? Yes. Is it clear, everybody? Yes. Khaled, how many people are there?
5.
There are 5. Thank you. So here we have 5 people. Who do you think this is? Yes, please, Muhammad. This is the night watchman. Very good. This is the night watchman. How many policemen are there? Muhammad?
There are 2 policemen.
2 policemen. And this is the Amr. This is the detective. Very good. Thank you very much. This is a police detective or this is a police officer. So now we have 3 people from the police. What is that man doing? What is a police officer doing? Hello,
He's asking the night watchman some questions.
Some questions. And at the same time, the night watchman will answer. Another word for answer? Another word for answer? Mahmoud? Reply. Yes, sure. Thank you, Muhammad. Yes, can we read it all of us?
Reply.
Again, please.
Reply.
Thank you. We have a break-in. Look at this. What's that? Ahmad?
Some glasses of
The window, the shop window of the shop window is what? What happened to it? Is? Give him the chance, please. Is broken. Excellent, Muhammad. The shop window is, thank you, sit down. The shop window is broken. The glass is broken. Another word for broken? Yes, Ahmad?
Smash.
Smashed, yes. So the glass is smashed into pieces. Has anybody got the word smashed? Yes, quickly please, Ali. Thank you very much. Repeat all of you. Smashed.
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 All right. Who do you think this man is? Yes, Mahmoud. Look at his face. Is he happy? Is he happy, Mahmoud? No. Who do you think this is?
Would be the owner of the shop.
Yes, very good. He might be the owner of the supermarket. Thank you very much. Now, what do you think they are looking for? What are the policemen looking for? Yes, please, Mahmoud. The policemen
Are looking for
very good, Mahmoud. The policemen are looking for the thief. You deserve
Self-correction
a pencil. Thank you,
with
Mahmoud.
a questioning intonation.
Because he corrected
In
him.
this technique,
Himself, he
the
corrected himself.
teacher
Let's see what
gives a
happened.
clue
We are going to look at
that
the
something
second
is
part.
wrong
What happened?
with the performance of the students.
Look at the police officer. Which one is the police officer? The one on the left side. Yes, the one on the left side. I think, yes, with brown jacket. I think he's giving orders to the policemen. What do you think the order is? Yes, Hussein?
He orders him to catch the thief.
Again, Hussein. He ordered them to, right, to catch the thief. Thank you very much. All right. Yes, please. To arrest the thief. Thank you very much. Now, we will see whether the watchman was the thief or not. Are we sure that the watchman, the night watchman, was the thief?
Yes.
Are we sure? Some people said they are sure and some people said no. Up till now, I myself, I don't know. So now we have some questions. We are going to read them. Now you will open your book, skim quickly, look at the passage quickly to find answers to these questions. Please, whenever you come across a new word, what should you do? To underline quickly, please, and remember the new words which you have learned. All right, time is over, please. Time is over. Put your pens down. Pens and pencils down, please. Pens and pencils down. All right. Number one. Yes, Hussein.
Who is the owner of the Berea supermarket? Mr. Ahmed.
Mr. Ahmad Nawar. Thank you very much. Yes, please, Muhammad Azzat. Two. Why did the police officer go or rush to the shop?
To see what happened.
To see what happened or to see what had happened. To see what had happened. Thank you. Sit down. All right. Now, I think now we can work cooperatively. We can work together so as to answer these questions quickly. Okay? Yes, in pairs, as Amr said, in pairs. No, quickly. Quickly, please. Yes, up till now, 3 questions. More? Yes, please. Put your pens and pencils down, please. Yes, nice. Number 1, just give me the answer quickly, just to save time. Yes, Muhammad? Mr. Ahmad Nawar. We will come to this again. Thank you very much, Mr. Ahmad Nawar. Number 2, Ali?
He used to work shop office.
He used to work in the shop office. All right, he used to work. Now, sit down please, Ali. Now, in the past. In the past. He has resigned. All right, thank you, Amr. Listen, Amr said he has resigned. Has he? Has he? What happened to him? Haytham?
Mr. Ahmed Nawar, who was the owner of the shop, sacked him from his work, as he said that he made a lot of mistakes in his.
Yes, he made a lot of mistakes. What was his mistake? The first mistake. What was it, Mr. Muhammad?
He was late.
He was always late. This is the first mistake. So he was sacked. Who has the word? Yes, quickly. Now, if somebody is always late, what should the shop owner do? He should dismiss. Very good comment. Thank you very much. He should sack him. He should. Who can write the word dismiss? Dismiss. Yes, please. Ahmed? Very good. Thank you very much. Another word for dismiss and sack. Another word. It begins with. It begins with.
Fired.
Fired. Yes, to fire somebody. He was fired. All right. Now, what punishment do you think Osman deserves? What kind of punishment does he deserve? Yes, Khalid?
He will be put in the jail.
Can you help me write the word punishment? Yes. This side, please. Punishment.
Punishment.
The other, punishment.
Punishment.
This row, please. Punishment.
Punishment.
Yes.
When
second,
the
punishment.
teacher comes across a
The
pronunciation mistake,
second, Ali. The third
he
row,
or she
punishment.
corrects
All
the
right.
mistake
Ahmad,
through drilling.
punishment.
Drilling the correction of the mistake to the whole class. Also, without referring to the student who has
Ahmad?
made the mistake.
What did the watchman do? What did he do? Yes, please, Luay.
He phones the owner of the supermarket.
He phoned the owner of the supermarket, and the owner of the supermarket phoned the police. What did the watchman do? Yes, Ahmad?
The teacher repeats the answer
Thank you. What did the owner of
and
the
expands it
supermarket do, Ali?
in the correct form.
He phoned the police.
He phoned the police. I want one of the intelligent students. I know that I have many. Yes, sure. All of us are intelligent. I want one of the intelligent students to tell me a piece of information which we didn't mention at all in the lesson. Yes, Ham?
We didn't discuss how did the watchman stole the money.
We didn't speak about how he stole the money. Very good, because it's not mentioned. What happened to the night? Thank you, Am. What happened to the night watchman? Was anybody hurt in the story? Did anybody tell us that he was hurt?
Yes.
Yes.
When the night watchman said that when he saw the thieves, he went to catch them, but they hit him on his head, so he fainted. And
Excellent. So he fainted. He fainted. And then he
received his recovered to his senses.
then he recovered his senses. Ibrahim, thank you very much. All right.
When
Yes.
he recovered, he knew that the thieves they had stolen the money and smashed the glass and ran away.
Thank you. By this answer, what did Luay do? He gave us a summary of the whole story. Now let's go back to our words. Let's repeat them. Let's practice them. Yes, please. All of you together.
Rip guard, break, smash, sack, rush, recover.
What's the meaning of recovery?
Return the has it again.
Recovered to
To come,
consciousness.
Come back.
yes, to come back to his
Senses.
Very good, to come back to his senses. All right, now after discussing the problem, the causes, the result, and the solution, we are going to start writing. But there is one point before writing. We should agree upon one thing. When correcting your compositions, I will have this technique in mind. I will have this strategy. This is the strategy of error correction. What do we have here, Ahmed Magid?
The abbreviation.
And here we have
The teacher explains
what
her
will
scheme
you
of
tell
correction.
you? Tell
By
me.
scheme of correction,
If
I
you
mean
find a
explaining some symbols to be used by the students for correcting the mistakes.
So if you find SP, you will think of spelling. There must be a spelling mistake, which should be corrected by the teacher, by ourselves. Yes, very good. So SP stands for spelling, P stands for ST, SBA,
Subject verb agreement.
what's the meaning of subject verb agreement? Huh? When I say he speaks. So the verb should agree with the subject. We can't say he speak, we say he speaks. Next please, Ibrahim. T for tense, thank you. WC? Somebody's laughing. All right, WO? Yes, we should pay attention to the word order. HW?
Handwriting.
WH? Or? Words. And finally? Yes. Now we are going to start writing. I want very nice handwriting, good ideas. I want the paragraph to be well arranged. Can we do this? Yes. So let's start, please. Start writing. And when we finish writing, we will exchange the pieces of paper so as to be corrected by our friends. Time is over. What are we going to do now? We are going to change. Okay? We are going to exchange. Exchange your composition with your
The
friends,
students
please. Quickly.
exchange their papers and correct their peers.
What do we need to do if we have a spelling mistake? Just put where? Under the word?
Above it.
Above the word. All right, now it's over. Give the paper back, give the piece of paper back to your friend, please, quickly. Okay. Give the paper back to your friend. I'll collect the pieces of paper so as to be corrected and to be given to you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Let me collect them. Yes, please. Yes, please. Just, Ahmed, it's okay. Yes, please.
The teacher collects the papers or notebooks and corrects them either at home or in the office.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Mrs. Wang.
Thank you. Sit down, please. Do you remember the problem which we discussed yesterday? Yes. Really, I'm very happy because some of your compositions were wonderful. I'm proud of you. Now you will take back your compositions and please pay attention to the mistakes made, and all of us will try to avoid them next time. And as I have just told you that I'm really proud of you.
The students take back their papers in order to discuss the correction of their teacher. The teacher explained the commonly repeated mistakes to her students without referring to the students who made them. As we have seen, Mrs. Fatima Zahra has applied all the correction techniques we have mentioned in our narration. First, she applied peer correction when she asked other students to provide the correct answer. She also used the expansion technique when one of her students said, "The watchman phones the owner of the shop." She corrected him saying, "The watchman phoned the owner of the shop," and expanded his answer saying, "And the owner of the shop phoned the police." Mrs. Al-Zahra also drilled the correct pronunciation of the word punishment. Finally, she used collective or whole class drilling, not to correct the mistakes of her students, but to make sure that they are pronouncing the new vocabulary correctly. Adopting the technique for the correction of writing mistakes helped Mrs. Fatima Zahra to involve her students in 3 stages. First, the writing stage. Second, the correction stage. And third, the discussion stage. Also, avoiding overcorrection on the part of the teacher, Mrs. Fatima Zahra, motivates students and helps them to like writing. And finally, we can say that the application of the correction scheme helps students to discover their mistakes and to think of finding relevant corrections for these mistakes. This makes correction less damaging and an effective learning process.
Well, this might seem an easy lesson, especially because my students are in a private school. But in fact, I liked it to be or to seem as a speaking lesson. I wanted my students to have the chance to express themselves freely and to have the chance to act and interact with each other. Sometimes I have to interrupt my students when they focus on accuracy, when they make mistakes. But when we are after fluency, students shouldn't be interrupted. They should go on and on to act and interact even when mistakes are made, because we are not after correcting grammar or structure. We are after conveying a message. I like correcting good students or advanced students because they always act as a model in front of the whole class. This is one aspect. The second aspect is that I should correct them for the others not to be frustrated. They should know that everybody can make a mistake. Even excellent student can make mistakes. I'm one of the teachers who believe in peer correction, but at the same time I'm aware of the fact that some of the students got frustrated when they are corrected by peers or by some people who are equal to them. They don't like this. A good teacher should be aware of the fact that his judgment of the treatment of his students, or he should depend on his intelligent judgment. He should know the psychological condition of his student. He should know which of them would like to be corrected by his peers and which would accept teacher correction and which should depend on self-correction. Writing is considered the most difficult skill in our classes. So I try to facilitate this and to help my students to enjoy writing and to enjoy having their composition corrected. In fact, I try to apply a new technique and to let my students know which technique we are going to follow all through the year. I prepared my technique of correction as you have seen in the film, and I showed it to my students. This technique is shown to them once or twice a term until they got accustomed. When we come to the writing skill, they write the composition and we apply peer correction. I helped my students to understand the benefit they get from peer correction, because when one of them achieves, all the rest will benefit, and they accept this. When we come to the last outcome of the writing, students receive the corrected draft and they start writing the last piece, the fruitful outcome of their work, and they become very happy because of the technique applied, because of peer correction, because of the remarks of the teacher who appreciates their work.